Why does Anthony Mackie get so much hate just for doing his job? So the reason I'm doing this video is because I actually do a series on YouTube. It's called the Cancel Series, in which I cover a show and explain why it was canceled. To my surprise, ever since I recorded that episode of the Cancel Series for Altered Carbon, to this very day, I get nothing but comments of people blaming the demise of the show on Anthony Mackie. To this very day. And while researching this video, I went on and I found, why is Anthony Mackie Captain America? Like, that's one of the most common questions when you put in Anthony Mackie. Like, people are asking, like, why is he even Captain America? Now, that Captain America question, I don't think it comes from a place of hate. I think it speaks more to the fact that a lot of people, and Disney did a terrible job promoting it, didn't watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Because if they did, they would have seen that Sam Wilson's character, which Anthony Mackie plays, spent the whole season struggling with the weight of the legacy of Captain America, and should he accept the shield that Steve Rogers gave him. That was there. Hey guys, welcome to The Tone Show. Let's keep it real. The problem here ain't Anthony Mackie. The problem here is that he stepped into two different roles that already had beloved portrayals by two different actors. Joel Kinnaman's Takashi Kovacs was already loved in the first season of Altered Carbon, and Chris Evans had 3 movies for his Captain America to develop for MCU audience to love him, not to mention all the Avengers movies. So when Anthony Mackie picked up these roles, he was already against a mountain of fans and a mountain of expectation that the fans already had for the prior actors who already had developed beloved portrayal of those characters. So he was already going in at a massive disadvantage when he took these roles. And the craziest part about the Altered Carbon backlash is that what happened about changing the actors is 100% supported in universe. The whole basis of the show, the concept is that you could take a person's consciousness, their stack, and put it into another sleeve, another physical body. So Anthony Mackie being the new body, it followed canon and supported in universe logic. The problem was that season 2 lacked a lot of what season 1 had. The showrunner had stepped out for season 2, the story was much weaker, and if you're gonna blame any type of production, you first look at the writer and the director. You don't blame the actor. The actor's just there doing a job. He's following direction. He's an actor. But I understand, people see the physical face, who's Anthony Mackie's Takashi Kovacs, and they say, here's the change that I see with my eyes. He must be at fault. But no, season 2 was nowhere close in quality to season 1. Now, shifting gears over to the Captain America situation, Chris Evans had 3 films to develop his particular version of Captain America. And Sam Wilson, what did he have? He had a half-assed Disney Plus show that most fans, casual fans, didn't watch. So they didn't build this love of the character. So when you throw him into this new movie, which is underperforming, and it'd be lucky if it got to 700 million, but you don't blame the character, you blame the person who wrote the character again. Also, we gotta admit that Captain America: Brave New World, the MCU is on the descending path. So one could argue that even with Chris Evans at the helm, the movie probably would have performed better. But honestly, like, these numbers, I wouldn't just put it slowly on Anthony Mackie. You gotta look around and share it. Where's the director? Where's the writer? Why did Disney and Marvel falter so much with the promotion for this movie? And also building up this movie so people can watch it. You can't be mad at people for not watching your movie. At the same point, I don't think you can be mad at Anthony Mackie, who's an actor, for doing a job. Especially when he's faced again with the Chris Evans Captain America, who's right up there with Tony Stark. When he didn't have a Robert Downey Jr. to play against, he didn't have a Civil War movie, he didn't have the Russo brothers. People think, oh, it's Anthony Mackie's fault, this Brave New World Captain America. No, it's the writer's fault, it's Marvel's fault, it's Disney's fault. And of course, some of you are probably thinking, like, why does Anthony Mackie continue to take these roles if the actor who had the role before had a beloved iteration of that character? Well, put yourself in Anthony Mackie's shoes. You have Netflix knocking on your door saying, hey, do you want to be the face of the actor of my new hot series? Or you have the MCU, Disney, and Marvel coming to you and saying, hey, you want to be Captain America? Is it really your fault as a working actor? Yes, I said working actor. Anthony Mackie's not Will Smith. He doesn't have Will Smith money. So if Marvel and Netflix came to him and said, hey, I want you to be in this project, you as a working actor, you told me you're not going to jump at that? You're not going to be like, hell yeah, I'm going to get in there. And he's going to do the best job that he can because that's his job. He's an actor. So blaming him for acting and taking those roles, I think that's ridiculous. Because would you pass up a paycheck like that? I know I wouldn't. That's career-changing money when Marvel or Netflix comes at you. So I don't even think that's a fair argument to make. And here's the part of the conversation where it's going to get a little bit uncomfortable, because it's not lost on me that this is very similar to other patterns when a black talent takes the role of a prior white talent, right? So even though nobody's saying this is a racial thing, This sounds very familiar to those arguments. And yes, most time people say, oh, it doesn't support the canon, it doesn't follow what's in the comics. And I actually support that. And one of the reasons I think that I'm actually for this whole canon argument is because I don't feel like when you just throw a black talent into a role that was prior a white talent, I don't think that's true representation. If anything, I think you're cheating people on real representation. Now, to support this whole point, I'm gonna point you to my favorite Green Lantern, John Stewart. And we would never have John if they just took Hal Jordan and made him black. Think about it. The reason we have this specific iteration, a military vet who doesn't take any BS, who I love watching in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, and who became my favorite Green Lantern, is because we just didn't accept the fact that we're gonna take an already established character like Hal Jordan and make them black. If anything, this is true representation because now we have a character that doesn't have any of the lag that I spoke about before. Nobody's expecting this character to be like Hal Jordan. If anything, John Stewart is his own character and nobody questions anything. So if somebody comes into that character to play that role, and that talent obviously is going to be black, that talent doesn't have to go against any preconceptions or any pre-ideas of what the character should be, because Hal Jordan is not John Stewart and John Stewart is not Hal Jordan. And I think that's how you really do representation, especially when you're taking characters that are already established characters. You want to switch their race. I think that sometimes works best when you're gender bending a role. For example, I found out that Ripley in Alien was originally supposed to be a man. And now I can't look at Ripley as a man. Like, every time I think Ripley, I think, hey, that Eileen Ripley is Sigourney Weaver, who's a woman. So I think it's different when gender, but I think when you race swap a character, I feel like that's like cheap way of doing it. So let's bring it all together. Bottom line, Anthony Mackie is very talented. I think he's charismatic and I enjoy watching him. I'm rooting for the guy, but he's had great good fortune and terrible bad luck of getting these two roles where the audience already loved the prior guy, especially when you're going into a weaker season of Altered Carbon and when the MCU is already declining. And that's where you step in as Captain America. So put it in the comments. Do you guys think that Anthony Mackie deserved the backlash? Or no, all these points that I made are completely right. It's the writing, the directing. It falls on somebody else's head, not the actor just doing a job. As always, guys, this is the Tone Show. Be civil in the comments. Tone Show.